Hello and welcome, beautiful souls. In this shadow work pick a card reading, we are going to look at what is the hidden block that's keeping you from finding love or from love finding you. If you've been doing your manifestation work or you've been looking for love and nothing's working out, then this is the reading for you. If you find that this reading resonates deeply with you and you would like to go more specifically into your personal blocks, then schedule a private reading with me. I also offer shadow work healing sessions if you find that this resonates and you would like to work on clearing the block that we find today. Without further ado, here are the three piles. This one is the Santa Muerte Tarot with the Laborite point. Am I saying that right? Pile number 2 is the Somnia Tarot with the Selenite heart. And pile number 3 is a Wild Unknown deck with this Ammonite. The crystal names are going to get me every time. Ammonite point. So pause the reading if you need to and pick intuitively which pile you resonate with the most. We'll also be getting some oracle cards as well. I will see you in your reading. Hello, group 1. If you resonated with the Laborite, why can't I say that? The Laborite point, or the Santa Muerte Tarot, then this is going to be a reading. We are going to look at why you aren't manifesting the love of your life. What is blocking your love life? We'll also look at the Dark Mirror Oracle, and we'll do some Wild Unknown archetypes as well to get a little bit of a deeper look as to what exactly is the pattern that has been showing up and what is it that you're not seeing? What is the hidden block that's going on here? So, as always, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. We'll just get a bit of an energy check with the first part of the reading to kind of describe the situation you've been experiencing in your relationships. So if that part doesn't resonate with you, then this may not be your group. You might want to choose another pile or just stick around and see if there are messages that resonate with you. So firstly, let's kind of just get a feel for what has been happening. What have you been experiencing in your past relationships, and possibly what you may be experiencing right now as to whatever love situation, lack thereof, or situationship that you might be in right now, and what is showing up there. And then as we move forward, we will figure out what is the underlying root wound or belief or block that we need to clear in order to move forward with your love life. All right, spirits, so for group 1, what is the issue here? We have the Ace of Cups showing up. So while you keep meeting new people, so it's not that you're not meeting anybody, it's that it's just not working out, or you've been single for quite some time, wanting love and yet feeling very alone. What else? There's like these little glimmers of hope, and for you, group 1, it seems like anything that you do get involved with seems to end pretty quickly. It's with the Ace of Cups being typically like a really beautiful card. In this deck, it's giving that there's just too many patterns, or there's like a lot of baggage that's coming in either on your end or the other person's end right from the beginning, and that is what's been making you really frustrated about your love life, because you're like, I'm out there, I'm trying, I'm meeting new people, and yet it just, nothing is panning out, and it gets eliminated so quickly. 10 of Pentacles showing up next. So because love has been rather disappointing and lonely, and just there's an emptiness there, you've really just been focusing on work, which is great. You've been focusing on yourself. You've been focusing on trying to get just more stability in your financial world, at home, and trying to make just a really beautiful place for you to live and reside and enjoy life, which is wonderful. And even if you are really happy with that part of your life, there's still this just really underlying sort of sadness or longing to share this is a beautiful life that you're building, and you want to be able to share it with somebody, and yet here you are alone with the Ace of Cups. So what else? The Ace of Wands. You've been single so long, you've probably also consequently been celibate, and you are starting to get restless with all of that desire that has been building up while there hasn't been anyone to share it with. Bottom of the deck, we have the Sun. You have been at least pretty optimistic, which is wonderful, but if we don't look at this card, right? We have this really beautiful energy here. You are making moves at work, you're making a lot of money, you're getting really stable and probably going to the gym and doing what you need to do to get your life right. You have this incredible desire, this lust for life, a lust for connection, and you have a very optimistic spirit, and yet there's this underlying current of this Ace of Cups that is just very rainy, very sad, and alone. Beautiful, however, very, very beautiful, but there's a sadness underneath that. So we have the Three of Swords sneak out of the deck here. And yeah, that's really just indicating that there is some unhealed trauma, unhealed pain, unhealed something going on from the past that has come up for you. So let's just clarify these cards. When we do shadow work tarot, what we do is we kind of start on the surface and we just go deeper, 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 and deeper, because there's going to be lots of layers here. So let's clarify the Ace of Cups. Why is the Ace of Cups here? We have the Queen of Wands. Yeah. So you are like, I'm amazing. I'm so incredible. I'm artsy. I'm creative. I'm passionate. I'm gorgeous. I'm handsome. You feel really good about yourself. And so it's really confusing to you why you're alone, because all of this other energy is so beautiful, and it makes it even harder because you don't necessarily feel bad about yourself. You know you'd be a great partner. You know that you are a catch. You know that you deserve a great love, and yet for whatever reason, it just isn't happening. So let's clarify this 10 of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles clarified by the Hermit. So part of the reason, on the surface level, the reason is that you're not going out. You're not anywhere that your love can even find you, because you're so focused on yourself, because you're working so much, or you're inside doing your own creative project, which is beautiful, but that's lending itself to some isolation. And of course, logically, if you are not out for anyone to see how incredible and beautiful and amazing that you are, no one can find you. So that's one issue there. You have to find a balance between working on yourself, glowing up and leveling up, and also being more social. You have to be somewhere where this person that you've been calling into your life can even find you or know that you exist. So let's clarify this Ace of Wands, King of Cups. Yeah. So it's not just that you're horny and that you miss having the carnal connection with people. You have a lot of love to give with this King of Cups. It's like your heart is full as well, not just other parts of you, right? You want to share and pour your desire and love and like a all-encompassing experience with somebody. And it's been frustrating for you because you feel amazing, you're doing amazing, and yet there's no one to share it with. And so I can understand why there's that underlying sadness there. And it also makes it more difficult to speak about it, right, out loud, because everything else looks like it's great in your life and you want to be optimistic with that Sun card, and you are, but there is that underlying sadness, right? So yeah, if that is something that hits you pretty deeply and you want to work with me one-on-one, we can really go into what this sort of underlying energy is. But we're going to keep going and see if we can't just get it out right now this second. So 3 of Swords. Clarify the 3 of Swords. Woo. 2 of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the Hierophant. So for some of you, you were in a marriage previously and that person chose someone else. Their attention was divided, or perhaps it went even so far as to you have experienced some infidelity. And so, yeah, that would make sense that you would be really guarded. You could also be that you didn't commit to a situation because you were scared, or whatever that underlying issue is. It could also be with the Hierophant, you know, we do have to look at our deeply held beliefs and our religious beliefs that we got from when we were a child. And that could be affecting, you know, perhaps, I don't know, with the 2 of Wands. Let's get one more card here. It could be as simple as well as, I don't know, like you having to move, or, oh, see, the 3 of Wands came out. Oh, that's the 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands, and then it flipped in reverse, which I find really interesting. Yeah, it was inner conflict. There was conflict, fighting, and you just felt like you had to move on from that situation. Bottom of the deck, the 2 of Cups. And this happened with somebody that you felt was your soulmate, was your end-all be-all. And for some of you, you were actually married to that person, but there was some divided attention. There was some divided intentions. And you didn't want to fight, and so you kind of just shut down, is kind of what I'm getting from that with this 5 of Wands showing up upright and then flipping around. You just kind of acquiesced. Perhaps you didn't ask for what you needed, or you felt like you chose wrong in that situation and it got messed up, and it's really hurt you. So, all right, take a deep breath. We're going to go down yet another level. So let's clarify the Queen of Wands here. What else do we need to know about the Queen of Wands? Yeah, the Hierophant came up again. So okay, so you may have, and I don't want to say that your standards are too high, but there may be some beliefs going on here about how amazing that you are, and maybe you're not giving anyone a real chance, right? You're kind of stuck in the house and you're not actually that open, and you're blaming it on you being too much for everybody, that you're just too whatever, fill in the blank. But I think that it possibly is a way for you to justify and feel okay with being alone, rather than it being the actual truth, because there's 8 billion people in the world and you really only need one, and the person that's perfect for you is not going to think that you're too much. So having this belief that you're too much, which could have come from childhood, from being told that is going to keep you from actually meeting somebody who thinks you're just the right amount, if that makes sense. So let's clarify the Hermit. Oh, that's too many. So yeah, you're kind of locked away. You've got all these sort of hidden thoughts and feelings and desires and aspirations, and it's feeling a little bit overwhelming perhaps. And perhaps you're just overwhelmed with the process of working and all of those things. Yeah, see, so many want to come out. We'll go ahead and take them. So we have the Lovers, clarifying that. And we're going to look at the bottom of the deck here too, and Temperance. What are these? What's going on in this pile here? What else do we have? The Six of Swords, the Chariot, and the Five of Cups. So yeah, you're like sitting at home alone in your room, like wishing and hoping for this Lover's card, and then you distract yourself because you feel like with the Chariot, if you move too quickly towards anything, that it's just going to end in disappointment. And so you're sort of taking this Temperance higher perspective, almost spiritually bypassing though. It's giving spiritually bypassing, to be honest, that you're not actually being honest about your true desire. You want this Lover's card, and yet you keep taking the Six of Swords route and moving away from the true desire because you're afraid that if you tap into this Chariot energy and really move forward into that desire, you're just going to get disappointed again. Understandably, that is terrible and it's not a good feeling. And so there's a bit of a paralysis with that Hermit card. You can't move forward because the fear of the disappointment is just too much. So let's clarify the King of Cups. Why is the King of Cups here? Take us another level deeper into this, into group one situation. We have the Four of Swords. So you've actually locked away. You're locking away your desire. You've locked away all of that big love that you feel because it is probably too much to hold, because it is intended to be for someone else. It's intended to be shared with other people or with a special someone. And you are suppressing this part of yourself, the part of yourself that is lustful, that is passionate, that wants to go out and live your life and share yourself with other people. You've locked that away. Now, because we've seen what's going on here, you've been disappointed by love and you are afraid of that happening yet again. And so it makes perfect sense that you would do that. Bottom of the deck, the Devil. The devil is a liar. And it's become actually a pattern, and it's become sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's become oppressive is what I'm trying to get at. You holding back this beautiful fullness, this beautiful passion, this intensity that you have, when you lock that away, it becomes very oppressive. And it will start to turn in on yourself, and you may start to, I'm not a doctor, but for some of you, that kind of energy can start to cause health issues, blockages, stuff like that, because it's too much energy that's being squished down and locked away. with this Four of Swords, and it can just cause like chronic fatigue as well. You have so much energy and it's not moving, and so it turns back on itself, and then that will create this feeling of exhaustion. So let's clarify this other pile here: the Three of Swords, the Two of Wands, and the Five of Wands in reverse. All right, so let's clarify this group here. Group 1, what is the underlying deepest level of this Three of Swords? Yeah, we have the Devil. While you may have been able to place the blame on other people outside of you, the fact of the matter is what's really causing this pattern is your own oppression of your true nature. You are not shining, you are not loving, you are not leaving the house, you are just so cramped up inside of your fear that is actually the cause. How we end up feeling with the Three of Swords isn't because of what happened. What happened is because of how we were already feeling. And that is that mirror thing that goes on there. The Page of Wands is you only let yourself come out in like certain situations. Yeah, you're not really acknowledging the depth of your desire. And in order to release yourself from what's going on here, you're going to have to tap back in to that desire and allow that desire to flow. I actually have an entire module in Goddess School about desire, and there's a guided meditation to help you learn how to let desire flow, because in order to let a manifestation actually come into our lives, we have to be able to feel the desire flow freely. So if you're interested in Goddess School, you want to learn more about that, then definitely check that out. The link will be down below for that. It's honestly one of my most favorite meditations. Almost all of the modules have guided meditations, but the letting your desire flow it's so good because it helps us get out of our own coffin that we've locked ourselves away in. And, you also learn other things like how to let go of the fear in the first place. We do an inner child healing module as well that comes right before that. Because you can't just be yourself and come out all the way, and if you still have that underlying wound there, because what will happen is it will become that self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll find a way to break free from the devil, to break out of the coffin, to go ahead and pour your love out and your desire and your passion, and then you'll end up right back where you started, and then that just reinforces that. You'll be like, see, I was right, and I shouldn't have done that, because it always ends up that way. You end up back in this Five of Cups energy, and it just reinforces the reason why every time you even think about opening up again, you just are like, you know what? It's not worth it. I don't want to end up in this mess. So let's get to the deepest level here. Let's ask the dark mirror, what is the wound underneath all of this? What is the wound that pile 1, group 1 has that is creating this pattern that keeps blocking them from the love that they want? Revenge. Interesting. That is giving more of self-punishment type of revenge. You were taught at some point that you were too much, and you're punishing yourself for that. It's like the part of you that's too much, you've learned to hate. There's a little bit of self-hatred in here going on. You hate that part of yourself that's too much because it's caused you to feel alone and unworthy or whatever. And rather than embrace that part and reintegrate it, you are punishing that part. by keeping it locked up in the coffin. Because you're like, no, if I let you out, you're just going to create a situation that just brings me more pain and more disappointment. And so that is why you have that oppressive part of you that's locking that part of you away. So what else? Peaceful among the thorns. You've, like I said, with that 10 of Pentacles, you've learned to distract yourself. You've learned to just be comfortable in the pain and the longing. And you haven't actually been willing to go in and dive deeper into it because you're used to it now. It's kind of just this low grade fever, like a stone in your shoe that just keeps poking you. But it's not bad enough for you to really do anything about it. But the thing about low grade fevers is they can cause a lot of damage in the long run. So what else? Calling the storm and atonement. So the advice here is to be willing to, we have fragmentation on the bottom. These are several different parts. And again, that's what I do in our shadow work one-on-one sessions, is we identify these parts, we talk to these parts, and we heal them and get you back integrated again, so you're not against yourself within your own self. But the advice here is to call the storm, to allow whatever chaos, whatever too muchness, whatever consequences will ensue from you being your truest, most authentic self. And then if you have to atone for that, if you have to ask for forgiveness, right? They say it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. You may have to just learn to get messy and to be messy because you've had everything contained for so long, but it's not working for you anymore, and it's not going to work for you. That way of being will never work. So you have to, on the one hand, atone for the revenge against yourself. Atone and ask forgiveness to those parts of you that you've locked away. And then just let them be feral and free and wild. And yeah, you might cause a little bit of harm, but hopefully it's not intentionally, and people might be upset. They might be upset. Not to say that you should be out there causing harm and not, willy-nilly and not caring. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the harm that you believe that you will cause by being your most open-hearted, most lustful, most passionate self, you may just need to be willing to feel the mess of that storm and then ask for forgiveness later. So, okay, last messages here. We have the ring. Bottom of the deck, the Lovers again. Yeah, the Lover. You really want to be the lover. You do. And that it's just your nature, but it got called too much or whatever when you were little, most likely, or just repeated patterns of being with people that actually didn't have the capacity to really be with you. I'm not familiar with the stone. I'm going to look it up. It's on page 222, which might be significant. The numbers 222 might be significant for you. It says, in the light sense, the ring is connectedness, humility, and sacred cycles. But when it's in the dark side, it's unconscious repetition, starving for connection. Very much confirmation of what we've been talking about. You want to be the lover, and yet it says the stock of the jewels you adorn yourself with, watch out for rings you wear out of habit that keep you connected to the old you. So yeah, it is an image of connectedness and achievements. The ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and experiences. What else? It mimics the Earth's orbit around our great sun and the intimate bond between two lovers. It's the micro and the macro united. This card calls us to deepen connection with self, other, and the world at large. Meanwhile, there may be a literal ring waiting to adorn your finger. Ooh, I just got the chills. Oh my goodness. Wow, yeah, that was cool. There is a ring waiting for you. There is a lover here underneath all of that. So you're not wrong to have that optimistic viewpoint of it. There is something written for you that is incredible and beautiful. And yet it's just this holding pattern that you're in because it keeps happening so that you can become aware of it, so that you can see, it, so that you can heal it. Yeah, so there is an incredible love waiting for you underneath all of this. So again, if this resonated with you and you feel these parts and you feel that conflict and you know that there's someone just like right around the corner and you just can't quite get to it, we can do a personal reading and go deeper specifically for you. Or if you're ready to just go and clear this once and for all, schedule a shadow work one-on-one session with me. All the links are down below. That is all I have for you today, Group 1. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for you. This is incredible. I know it may look a little daunting at first, but you're so close. It's like you're so close. So hit me up if you would like to work with me, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi, Group 2. If you were drawn to this Selenite heart or the Insomnia Tarot, then this is going to be your reading. We are going to look at what is the hidden block that's keeping you from love. Pile Group 1 was really powerful. So if you were also drawn to that group, there might be some messages for you in there as well. So at first, we're going to get a little bit of an energy check. We're going to look at the pattern of what you've been experiencing, and that will just give you further confirmation that this is in fact your group. If this part doesn't resonate with you, then there may not be messages here for you today, or you may need to pick another group. So if these end up resonating with you and you would like to go deeper into your specific situation, I do offer personal readings and one-on-one shadow work sessions as well. So let's get Group 2's energy check, and let's see, what has Group 2 been experiencing thus far? How has love been showing up for them, and what's going on? So what we do in the shadow work tarot style is we're going to get the surface level. So what's been showing up, and then we're going to clarify and we're going to go deeper until we get to the deepest parts, the wounding underneath it all. And we will pull some dark mirror oracles for that. But we'll do about 4 layers down. So the first layer is just going to be what has been going on. Like, what's the obvious thing that's been happening, the pattern, the recurring theme in your dating life or your relationships. And so again, that will give you an idea of whether or not this group is for you. So 7 of Swords, yikes. Okay, so for you, Group 2, you've been experiencing a lot of deceit in your relationships. Perhaps people love bomb you and then they turn around and end up being not anything at all like they portrayed themselves to be. Perhaps they come across as a nice guy or a good girl, and then with the 7 of Swords, that could just indicate lying and deception and possibly infidelity as well. They're just, you are not, and you know, to be fair, this could also be that you are not showing up honestly in your relationships. You are not showing up as your true self. Or you're just simply, because he's carrying this chest full of swords, it could be that you're carrying the wound of having been lied to or deceived in a past situation. And so that has been a theme for you that keeps coming up. Queen of Cups. You keep watering a plant that's not growing. You have all of this love in your heart, Queen of Cups, and yet you're giving it, you're pouring the water in the wrong place. You could have also experienced your partners lying to you and taking all of the goodness that you are pouring into them, and they're pouring it into someone else, or they're pouring it out somewhere else. So yeah, I can understand why that's been really frustrating. King of Pentacles, King of Coins. There's also been a bit of financial troubles. Like perhaps someone stole money from you, like literally. You were pouring into this person and doing whatever, you thought that you had agreed to with the Seven of Swords, and yet that turned out to be a lie. And it has affected you financially as well. But it could also have just affected your self-worth. The Tower. Yeah, it was probably the Seven of Swords. You've probably been dealing with things that have been hidden, and you don't actually even it's like covert narcissism, right? Not to throw the N word around, but it's something people keep doing behind your back, and you're just like, why do they keep taking everything from me? And you don't realize that the house is on fire until you're under it and the house is on fire. Yeah, one of our candles just went out. Bottom of the deck, the Queen of Wands. You are furious about this pattern. There's a lot of anger in your system, a lot of rage for what you've been experiencing. And for what it's worth, I am so sorry that you've been going through that, because that's really intense. So if that resonated with you and that is a pattern and a theme you've been noticing in your love life, then let's keep going. We're gonna clarify these, and we're gonna go a layer deeper. So let's clarify the Seven of Swords for group 2. What does group 2 need to know about the Seven of Swords? The Ten of Cups, yeah. So just to kind of confirm that, you were promised the Ten of Cups, a beautiful partnership, emotionally fulfilling situations, and it was a lie. It just wasn't true. They overpromised, they overdelivered, or overpromised and underdelivered, excuse me. And that is also why you're so confused, because you really bought into the Ten of Cups that they were selling you. You didn't see that it was all a lie, that you were the one that was going to have to carry the burden of everything up this mountain, and it was going to constantly get holes poked in these buckets, right? You didn't realize that. And that's one reason why it's difficult for you to move forward in love now, is because you're still holding on to the promise, even though the reality just absolutely wasn't there. So let's clarify the Queen of Cups. Why is the Queen of Cups here? The Four of Coins. Yeah, so the Four of Pentacles, very much like I just said, actually, you're holding on to, you're like, but I'm incredible. I have so much love to give. Look at all of this water I'm pouring into this plant. It should be growing. The garden should be fruitful. And yet this is looking like a little bit desolate, honestly. And it's actually, she's overwatering that. There's no way for that plant to survive with how much water she's pouring into it. You've been pouring into someone or someone's. It could be a pattern that you keep pouring, you keep trying harder when things aren't going well. Let's clarify the King of Coins. Why is the King of Coins here? The Knight of Swords. It's very easy for you to believe what people say. Bottom of the deck, Death card, Scorpio energy. And you rush towards what seems like it's going to level you up. Maybe it's kind of like you keep falling for people that promise to take care of you and that, you know, they're gonna pay for everything and, you know, or they're gonna level up your career, and you rush towards it. But with the Death card here, that never happens. It's never, it's something that you have to transform, this need, this desire to rush towards financial stability or material stability, whatever that means for you. And it's really easy for you to believe that somebody loves you and they're going to give you everything that you need, and you are not seeing the lies that these people really are serving you. So let's clarify the Tower here. Why is the Tower here? We have the King of Wands and the Four of Cups. Yeah. It's like you thought, so we had the, where was the, we saw, oh yeah. We saw the Queen of Wands at some point under the bottom of the deck. You're furious about this, but you also believed that this was your partner. And they're here, I think it's like, are they smoking that? They're like holding a candle in their mouths. And it's like, they're telling you all these things. And then once it's not true, you realize it's not true. It's like this candle falls and the house starts to burn. And you're the one left with the burden, Four of Cups, of carrying these incredibly heavy buckets of water, blindfolded, he's blindfolded, to try to put this fire out. And where are they? They're nowhere to be found. Bottom of the deck, the Sun. They've stolen your light. They've disappeared. For some of you, they literally stole some money. They're stealing shit from you. Excuse my French. All right, well, let's keep going. Let's go another layer deeper. Let's clarify the Ten of Cups. Clarifying the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Cups, please. Clarify the Seven of Cups, Seven of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. The Wheel of Fortune and the Five of Wands. Yeah, so they promised, yeah, literally just burning your time. They're just wasting your time. They keep promising you, you fight with them, they gaslight you, they put out the argument, they're oof, yeah, this is definitely the pile or the group of people that have been dealing with more of a sort of narcissistic pattern. Four of Wands at the bottom. There's all this promise of really great things, and then they don't deliver, and then you say something and they're like, what do you mean? No, it's coming. And they put out the argument, and it may not be like that extreme that it's, you know, abusive, but they could just be like, no, I'm going to do it. And then they put out your doubts or your fears, but then they still don't reveal the truth. They're promising the Four of Wands, the marriage, the partnership, and yet they are still shrouded. There's something that's still not being revealed here by them. So we're back to that Seven of Swords of being deceived. There's deception afoot. And that is the pattern that you keep experiencing. Queen of Wands, clarifying the Four of Coins. So it's good that you're angry. The rage is going to serve you. You need to get angry about how much you've been pouring and how much that it's not going anywhere. And you've been probably demonizing your anger. You've probably been trying to not be angry. But I'm here to tell you that the anger is what's going to help catalyze you out of the pattern. So stop being angry about being angry. You have the right to be angry. This is a very insidious, very manipulative experience that you've been having over and over again in your love life. And you've been made to feel like it's not your fault, even though intuitively, or that it is your fault. They've made you feel like it's your fault, and intuitively you know that it's not your fault, and yet you believe them. So let's clarify the Knight of Swords, the Two of Swords. Yeah, you have found yourself in situations where you feel like you don't have a choice. Like you feel like the silver-tongued version of this King of Coins promising you material stability and everything that you need to be taken care of, and you believe them, and you find yourself feeling as though you don't have a choice. Like, of course you would choose that because it's what you need, and it's because the pattern of your relationships is that you keep ending up with people that are manipulative. They see the wound that you can't see, which is what we're trying to get to in this reading today. What is that wound that you have that these predatory people keep hooking into and then making you feel like you don't have any other choice but to stay with them or be with them? Clarifying the Four of Cups here. Why is the Four of Cups here? The Emperor. This is a pattern for a lot of you that has to do with an authority figure, a male authority figure, most likely a boss, a father. Because we're looking at wounds and blocks, it's most likely someone from your childhood that constantly you felt like was holding this weight over your head. It was a very oppressive, very hard situation where you felt like you had to believe them. You had to do what they wanted you to do. Otherwise, they were going to let go of this rope and that anvil was going to come crashing down on your head. So it was a very dangerous situation. And we have the Empress here, which is really interesting that it's showing up because those are counterparts, are they not? Your mother or the woman involved in the childhood scenario kept herself blind. She kept her eyes covered to what was going on with you and your father. So sorry, trigger warning. I should put a trigger warning in the beginning. This is very deep energy here. So if this is really hitting you, I do, for you guys specifically, I really do recommend that you reach out to a therapist or someone. I also do inner child healing sessions. We can really go into this spot that you're feeling right now, and we can work through that and we can clear that and heal that, because this is really intense, kind of very heavy energy, especially for a little one, especially for a child to be feeling, to have a father that's oppressive or mean or manipulative or abusive even, and to have mom just not care or not protect you or just go about her sewing in her life and pretend she's not seeing any of it. So, take a really deep breath. If this is hitting you, take a deep breath, take care of yourself. I'm just a random woman on YouTube. If this is triggering, you can click off, call a friend, call a therapist, call a helpline if you're feeling really activated by this reading. It's very heavy. So let's do one more layer. The Devil. Yeah, it's a pattern. For some of you, this is ancestral. It didn't begin in your childhood. This is something that's been passed down for generations. Eight of Wands clarifying this pile here. There is a fast turnaround here. your anger, if you allow yourself to get mad, get angry at what has happened to you, it will shift things really quickly with the Eight of Wands. I think you just have not, you've been gaslit so much that you don't feel justified in your anger. And yet what I'm seeing here in the cards is that you absolutely have the right to be furious. This shit is crazy and it's not okay. So once you allow yourself to feel the fullness of your rage and your anger, then it will start to unfreeze you and move you forward. Yeah, the Two of Cups here. Oh, it almost made me cry. This is very emotional, guys. This deck is really intense. So kudos to you. You probably have some Scorpio placements in your chart if you picked this deck, because we're going super deep on this one. So you felt like you had no choice. You felt they may have even played on your belief in twin flames for some of you. That's very specific. But the good news is that you are not doing anything wrong. The people that you've attracted because of the wounding are the ones doing it wrong. There's nothing wrong with your desire for this beautiful healing and this beautiful, like really soulmate, deep, divine counterpart type relationship. That is, you've been actually, for some of you, choosing between material stability and security and someone that you already know that's the love of your life, or a path that you already know is really good for your soul, and you've been allowing people to convince you that you need someone to take care of you financially, that you need someone to do all of these things, right? They're promising you all of these things and you feel like you don't have a choice. And so you've actually not moved towards someone that might already be present in your life. In fact, you keep saying no to this Two of Cups because you feel like the circumstances and the situations that you're in financially or materially leave you no choice but to deal with this kind of mess, even though there's something actually really beautiful here for you instead. The Five of Swords. Yeah, you like have this really intense inner conflict. Perhaps you feel you don't deserve this kind of love because the only kind of love you've ever known was this other thing, and they've convinced you that you will never have this, and the best that you can have is this. You know, it's a lot of very kind of emotionally abusive, gaslighting kind of stuff that's coming up here. So let's clarify this last pile. This is beautiful and it gives me a lot of hope. Yes, you are correct. That deep longing that you have, that belief that you have in a beautiful partnership that is equal and loving and nourishing, that is a real thing. And you just have, through this pattern of your past, have created, just attracted the repeat pattern of that past rather than being able to break free from that and move forward into that Two of Cups energy. So let's clarify the Emperor here. What do we need to know about this Emperor? I'm pissed off. Like, looking at this Emperor and feeling this energy, I am angry. I am so angry at whoever started this pattern, whoever did that to you. I am enraged at what's been going on here and the audacity to make you feel like it was your fault. I am so sorry, and the warrioress, that mama bear, mama lion in me is raging right now. Three of Coins. Yeah, it could have been a community member, a priest, a teacher. Also, it doesn't necessarily have to be a parental figure, but with the Three of Coins here, there was a community cover-up at the end of the day as well. Like, there was a systemic thing going on here. And so this pile is really, really deep. I do recommend that, again, if this is triggering for you, that you contact a mental health professional to work through this if you find yourself really triggered by this reading, because it is very, very heavy. Bottom of the deck, Ace of Cups. There is a chance for renewal here. Despite what this motherfucker has told you, you are worthy and you are deserving of this love. And there is renewal and healing available for you. You are not broken. This is not something that it's not inevitable that you're going to end up alone. This is not fatalistic the way that they have made you feel. You can overcome this. You can heal from this, and you can move forward from this. So let's get whew. Yeah, if you need to take a break, take a break. Very heavy, but just breathe through it. Move your body if you need to. Get up and move around if this is resonating deeply for you. And also, I am here to help if you feel the need to go more specifically into your situation and really move through this pattern. But let's see what the dark mirror has to say. What's actually the childhood wound here? What is underneath all of this? What is the energy? Atonement, yeah. You were just made to feel like everything was your fault. 31, the number 31 could be significant, as well as the number 4. So this could have been something that happened when you were around 4 years old. It could have just been one incident. It doesn't even necessarily need to be a pattern, but most likely with the cards that have come out, that this is something that you just took on the blame and the burden for everything, forgetting oneself. Yeah. You were made to forget yourself. You were made to serve other people and to make sure that they were comfortable and they were okay, and nobody was making sure that you were okay. And that's literally just carrying over into your love life. Even though you want this Two of Cups, even though the Ace of Cups is here, even though you know that you have the capability and the desire and the deservingness to have this kind of relationship, you were just trained to just take everyone else's swords. So hopefully just knowing that, just bringing that piece to the awareness, like this is just a matter of habit. You don't have to keep doing this. You don't have to keep dealing with people like that. It's not actually your responsibility. It never was. But they gaslit you so much that you forgot who you really were and what your needs really are, and you just essentially turned your life over to other people. And that's what the predatory people in your love life have been playing on. You believing that you just need to turn your life over to somebody, and that there's no way that you can make ends meet on your own or be financially or materially stable. And these people who can sense that and see that, they're hooking into that and they're wrapping you back up into that old pattern. So what else? Peaceful among thorns. Yeah, it's a habit. You've just gotten used to surviving, to thriving in that, because it's so normal for you. But you know, what's normal doesn't mean it's good for us. So you've gotten used to just completely forgetting that you have any needs, catering to everyone else's needs. And if something goes wrong or they don't feel good or, you know, they're unhappy, you're like, oh, it's my fault. I'm so sorry. You were just trained that way, and you can absolutely you could just decide to stop. It can be that simple for some of you. You can be like, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. And then stop doing it. It can be that simple. For others of you, you'll need to do a deeper process and some deeper healing. Sacrifice. Yeah. You were trained to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others. And like I said, it doesn't have to be so insidious or so extreme as abuse. It could just be that your caretakers, your experience of early life was to sacrifice your needs for the needs of the adults around you. And they made you comfortable in that painful experience, and it's just normal and natural. And I'm getting, as heavy as this energy actually is, I'm actually getting that this could just be a matter of deciding I'm not doing that anymore. The healing process for this doesn't feel like it's that deep. Yeah, calling the storm, just being willing to say, yeah, F you guys, actually. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm no longer going to sit in these thorns. I'm not going to take the swords for you in my back. I'm no longer sacrificing who I am or what I need, and let the fallout fall out and let the chips fall where they may. Funny, I slid this over. Hiding your true self is underneath. You have to stop hiding your true self. So let's get some last messages from the Wild Unknown Archetype deck. The Castle. And one more. So the Castle, these decks we're using as sort of the pathway or confirmation. The Nectar. Ooh, yes. Okay. The Bardo at the bottom of the deck. So there is a liminal space that's going to happen when you're like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not doing that for people anymore. I can't deal. I'm not going to give up I'm going to stop abandoning myself. I'm going to stop giving up my own needs for the comfort of others. That is just, can be just as simple as a choice. And what does the Castle have to say here? When it's in the light, visiting your throne of power. Yes, so this is the way to the Nectar. I love that the last cards are showing what the love that's coming in for you will actually feel like. The last group got the Lover and you have the Nectar, and this just feels so delicious. It feels so nourishing and delicious. It just feels so good. So the way to that is the Castle, visiting your throne of power. So getting out of that stuckness, depression, and like I said, getting pissed off and being like, you know what? Getting in that Queen of Wands rage and being like, this is bullshit. I'm not doing it anymore. F you, I'm out. It says, notice how castles are designed to keep things out. They defend, they separate. It is likely there is connection and community beyond its walls that will revitalize you. So you may look for a healing group or other strong people who are going through this process of reclaiming their voice, reclaiming their power. And that might be actually where you meet this person. See, the thing about when we're blocked from love, what we're meant to have already exists. It's underneath all of this stuff. So group one had the Lovers that was underneath all of their stuff. And you guys have the Nectar that is underneath all of your stuff. And oh, it just, oh my God. When I tap into that Nectar energy, oh wow. It is so good. Let's see what the book says about this card though. If we can get some last messages. What do they need to know about the love that is actually there for them? It says glowing, relaxed, and subtle illumination. The dark side of it is fixation on fixing, aggressive approach to healing. So you want to also take your healing journey with gentleness and unconditional acceptance and gentleness with yourself. It says the Nectar, the Mystic, and Althea cards are linked. It is the mystic who, like Krishna, turns poison into nectar, and it is truth that can often serve as a potent elixir for healing. So this poison that you've experienced, that all of this water that has been poured out from you into other people's needs and other people's desires and other people's, it's been pouring into everyone else. And so you have felt this desolation of the garden that should be this lush, beautiful garden producing this incredible, delicious fruit. When you turn that bucket onto yourself, when you start to water yourself, then you will fill back up, and then you will be able to have this Two of Cups. You will be able to draw the well from the water here. Ooh, and look at the Nine of Cups underneath that. You will finally have the Ten of Swords, the ending to all of this painful mess. And look at how gorgeous and luscious and nourishing and wet this fullness of these buckets of water are. I love this for you. If you want help moving through this energy to get to the other side of the nectar, hit me up for a personal reading, or let's do a shadow work session and really just root all of this out and get to the bottom of it. So hopefully that was helpful. Drop a comment if it resonated, and I will see you in the next reading. Thank you so much for being here. Bye. Hi, Group 3. If you resonated with the Amazonite, ooh, they're so hard for me to say. Amazonite point, or the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, this is going to be a reading. We are going to look at the hidden blocks keeping you from finding love, or from love finding you. I had to take a break after pile number 2. It was very deep, very intense. And let's see what comes up for you guys. The first part of this reading, we are going to look at the pattern that you've been experiencing. So that's just a way to confirm that this is your group. We will look at basically what has been going on in your love life thus far, what kind of it has been looking like or feeling like, and what the themes are, and that it will give you a clue as to whether or not there are messages in this group for you. If that part doesn't resonate, then maybe this is not your group. Try picking another group, or perhaps I just don't have messages for you today. As always, personal readings are available at the links below, as well as one-on-one shadow work sessions, because this is a shadow work reading, so we are going to go pretty deep. We're going to look at, like I said, the sort of superficial level of what you've been experiencing so far in your love life. And then we will clarify and go a layer deeper each time until we get all the way down to the original wounding using the Dark Mirror Oracle deck, and we'll get you some advice as to how to move forward. So the first card out, we have the Three of Pentacles. We also have the Five of Pentacles. We have the Daughter of Wands and the Emperor. Bottom of the deck energy, Temperance. So for some of you, this is about friendship breakups, or breakups with community, or groups that you have felt like you belong to, and suddenly, I don't know, something happened in that friend group. I'm seeing a little bit of a rainbow here, so this could be the LGBT qua pile as well. But it could also be that you keep meeting people to date or to hang out with, and through a friend group, through your communities. And it just keeps leaving you feeling less than. For some of you, actually having financial difficulties because of these connections. It could just be like you just keep getting hits to your self-worth, right? So the Daughter of Wands, I believe, is considered the Knight. I'm so sorry. I have to look that up. I would love it if tarot deck creators just kind of kept the basic structure. So yeah, Mother and Father are King and Queen. The Sun is the Knight. So the Daughter of Wands is the Page of Wands. So these could be communities that have to do with art, with your creativity. And perhaps you keep falling for the leader of the group with the Emperor here, or whoever is in charge. This could also indicate like your pattern is just falling for people in authority, teachers, bosses, like I said, group leaders of some kind, of whatever it is that you're involved with. But let's go a little bit deeper. If that resonates with you, we're gonna ask some more. Oh, we had some hidden stuff here. Ace of Swords and Temperance. Yeah, so this could be like a spiritual guru. Like you keep falling for, like I said, you keep joining groups or retreats, and like you just keep feeling like you don't belong there, or you end up involved with somebody from that group, and it's like, I know this is a very specific message, so it may not resonate with everybody. But in general, your trouble comes either from the group that you're part of or the community that you're a part of. The people you keep meeting are coming from this group, or the group is what's causing problems in your love life for one reason or another. But let's clarify and go deeper. So if any of that sounds like it's you or could be you, we'll clarify. The thing with this deck is it's a little bit more subconscious than the rest of them. It's not quite as obvious as what is going on in the cards. It's left a lot of room for interpretation. Justice, clarifying the Three of Pentacles. Yeah, there's like I said, it's really just giving group dynamics is the issue. So this may not even be about your love life per se. This could be about best friends that you just can't seem to keep, or the best friend or a friend keeps causing problems in your relationships. And for some of you, it can have gone so far as to create legal issues. So that could be significant as well. But let's clarify the Five of Pentacles. There's a lot of fog in this group. It's foggy, it's hazy. Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, it's like you thought that it was the right place to be, that it was going to finally level you up or get you financially stable, or it was going to help you learn something that was really important to building your life, and actually it just kind of left you broke or left you out in the cold. It wasn't really a strong foundation, as strong of a foundation as you thought that it was. And in fact, it just could be, again, like there could have been some legal trouble that had come out of it. They were sued, or you were sued, or perhaps, you know, in the case of falling for a spiritual guru, perhaps they got in trouble and they're now facing indictment for something. Or yeah, it could go that way as well. Again, this is a very specific case. For the rest of you where it's not that specific, it's just problems in your community that have caused issues in your love life, or are preventing you from really doing what you need to do to seek love or find love, because you're just dealing with so much community struggle or strife or something of that nature. Clarifying the Daughter of Wands, the Page of Wands. We have the Tower. Yeah, it's like, it's giving a lot of false starts. Like you're like, oh, this is the group, or these are my people. And then just some shit hits the fan. And it's just like this very unstable, very weird dynamic that's going on with the people around you. It's not even necessarily that you're doing anything. You're kind of getting just caught up in the crossfire of something. But that's still a reflection of something that's going on within you. And that's what we're here to figure out, what that actually is about. So let's clarify the Emperor. We have the Eight of Wands. Yeah, so it was like a sudden shift. Five of Cups. Yeah, something just went down. Like something was revealed about this person or this guru or this leader or authority figure, and it just went downhill really quickly to just grief and disappointment, and things just weren't like, yeah, and it just kind of, at this point, because of all the drama, it's giving a lot of drama, like very, very high drama situations, very high drama friend dynamics, community dynamics, and that is affecting your love life. And at this point, you're like, you know what? I don't know how to fix what's going on here, so I'm just going to retreat, because I don't know even what to do about what's happening, because it seems like things that are happening around you and not even necessarily anything that you have to do with. And yet, because it is having an effect on you personally, especially in your love life, it is something that you're going to have to look at within yourself. 7 of Pentacles. You have taken a sort of wait and see attitude, a bit of a detached attitude, like, well, there's nothing I can do here, so I just have to kind of sit back and let it play out. And so you may be feeling a little bit sort of helpless about what's going on, because you can't quite find the reason or a way that you are culpable of this and any reason, because you're not actually doing anything. It's like the people around you, it's the system around you, it's something, it just feels out of your hands. And yet, because you keep experiencing it over and over again, we do have to consider that there is something in your energy field that keeps attracting you to these situations. And that's where you're going to have to take some radical responsibility for what is manifesting, even though on the surface, it looks like you don't have anything to do with it. Clarifying the 5 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, we have the 4 of Wands. Yeah, it has something to do with, your level of commitment, your level of loyalty, your level of willingness to stick things out, even possibly if they're not in alignment for you. You are trying to fit in instead of finding where you actually belong. And I think anytime you try to fit in somewhere, you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, if you will. The goal isn't to fit in, it's to find where you truly belong. But because you're committed to finding this community, this group, like perhaps you're polyamorous as well, and you're looking to find a polycule or an expanded, experience of relationships, and it just keeps not working out for you. And you're really kind of frustrated. I can see that this is a very frustrating situation, because perhaps, like I said, if the poly thing resonates with you, it's because you keep entering into group dynamics that are already a little bit shaky, and things keep falling apart, not really because of anything you're doing, but because what's going on in that community is not actually in alignment for you, or it's just not really stable. So clarifying the Tower. Why is the Tower here? We have the Star. So yeah, you're always a bit blindsided or shocked by the breakdown, because you're like, I'm incredible, I'm amazing, I feel great, I'm here to offer all this creativity and passion and desire into the situation, and then it just keeps, like, things just keep falling apart, and you're very confused by that, because you're just like, I don't know, I'm here being the best and doing awesome and being awesome, but everything around me keeps falling apart. So let's clarify the 5 of Cups. Why is the 5 of Cups here? We have the Mother of Swords. So it's just, in group dynamics, especially in polyamory, the truth comes out very quickly. It's when you're dealing with multiple people and multiple relationships, you can't really hide from the truth, because there's so much so many different energies, and it tends to exacerbate any issues, and it really highlights them, and they can't hide in the woodwork. Ten of Swords, yeah. It's just like, you're frustrated that you keep getting into dynamics and then they just fall apart, and they fall apart really fast. Because again, when you're dealing with multiple people, groups, families, things like that, communities, when there's an issue, it's a big issue and it devolves very quickly. So what else? Let's clarify the Seven of Pentacles. You've been taking a wait and see attitude, and you still keep ending up in the same situations over and over again. And your wish is to heal this pattern, but I think I can see why it's confusing. You don't really know what to do here because, again, you feel like it's always been a matter of something that's out of your hands. Daughter of Cups, Page of Cups. Yeah, you are like, maybe if I just, stick around and pour some more love in it, maybe if I am just lovely and I stay, I don't want to say a bit small, but that's what I was hearing. Like, if I just stay small and I kind of stay out of the way and I just remain compassionate and loving, then it'll just go away, or it'll fix itself. Clarifying this, Four of Wands, we have the Death card. Yeah, so you've been committed, you've been lovely, you've been wonderful, and things still come to an end. They still are just, the confusion is warranted. You don't know, you really don't know. You're just like, I feel like I have nothing to do with this, so what do I do? Nine of Swords, Four of Swords. It's, you're confused, it's causing you anxiety, and I don't know. It's like I said, it's a very foggy thing. So I think that you're probably hiding from yourself what the truth is. I think when we believe, and it may be true, but when the issue is completely outside of ourselves and we can't find any reason that we are contributing to it or anything like that, it just means that it's even deeper in our subconscious. It's a pattern that is so far buried, deeply buried, that we can't see it at all. And the only thing that we can see is that this external manifestation of it, but we feel quite removed from that. And I think that you are feeling quite removed. You're feeling like, well, I don't have anything to do with this, so it's not my problem, except I'm here to tell you that if you keep experiencing it, there is something in your resonance that is attracting it. And if you would take a nice deep breath, and if you would allow me to find that answer for you, then you will be able to actually move forward. We have Judgment. Bottom of the deck energy, the World. So it can be as simple for you as you just keep choosing the same thing over and over again. That the block that you're feeling is that you keep choosing the same thing over and over again. You keep returning to the same kind of world, the same kind of club, the same kind of community, the same kind of whatever. You keep going to the same place expecting something different. And it could be as simple as that for you, group 3. But let's keep going. We may need to get some extra cards for y'all, because is it that simple, or is there something we're still not seeing here? Let's clarify the Daughter of Cups. Who are you really? What's really showing up here? The Moon. So this is an issue of a lack of identity for you, group 3. You keep trying, you just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall. You don't know who you are. And so you keep joining groups and clubs and friend groups, and then it's just like it's not working out, and you're just not really sure why. But the thing is your sense of identity has been messed with, and you don't really have a clear sense of who you are right now. And so if you do not have a clear sense of who you are, it's almost impossible to make the right decision. You have to know who you are in order to make the right decision, because you need to know who you are and what you like and what you don't like and what's good for you and what's not good for you. And with the moon here on that Daughter of Cups, it's giving very much that the wound and the block that you've experienced is like probably an enmeshment trauma, something like that, where your caregiver's personality just sort of was, overtaking you and eclipsed who you were. So we have the Death clarified by the Mother of Wands and the Daughter of Pentacles. So just kind of confirm what I was just saying. Especially if your mother was a fire sign, a Sagittarius I'm getting, but Aries or Leo, their personalities can be very big and very hot. And if you are more of like a watery sign, more emotional, more quiet, more creative, artistic, a fire sign mother could absolutely eclipse the foundation of who you are with this Daughter of Pentacles in reverse. So we're getting that kind of eclipsing of the self from a mother figure, or just an important female authority in your life. And that has left you unsure of who you are. And you've kind of just been trying to find yourself through groups and friend groups and communities and in your relationships as well. But I think you're missing the mark, and the truth comes out really quickly that it's not really in alignment for you. And that's why things keep ending really fast, or the things are not working out. So let's see what else. Four of Swords. Let's clarify the Four of Swords. Why is the Four of Swords here? Oh, we have a hidden one. We have the Lovers and we have the Nine of Cups. Yeah, so again, there is that part of you that... So I think you do know yourself, actually, but you're very soft, you're very sweet, you're very artistic and possibly introverted and quiet and slow and very romantic, very dreamy. You know, you may have a lot of Pisces in your chart, for example. It's giving Pisces energy. And you just keep running into very charismatic, very loud, very dramatic people, and they just keep eclipsing who you really are. And then you get confused about who you are, and then you make bad choices, because if you're not making choices from who you really are, and you keep making choices from who you think you should be because of whoever this Mother of Wands was that convinced you you need to be more like them, you're choosing from that perspective and not from who you really are. And so then, of course, the thing's not ever going to work out, right? It's not ever going to work out. Eight of Swords. Yeah, you kind of keep yourself locked in your chrysalis, and you never quite come out and be that full butterfly, because all of these swords here, you've convinced yourself that whatever the Mother of Wands told you and made you believe was correct. And so since you can't be those other things, you're just going to kind of stay small and stay in your chrysalis here and never really honor or own that softness of who you are, because you're very soft, very sweet, very kind, very loving, and probably very introverted. So let's clarify the Judgment card. So far, this is just really giving that because who you really are is kind of the antithesis of what we're supposed to be, quote unquote, in this world, especially if you live in America. It doesn't fit the narrative of the kind of person you're supposed to be. And so you haven't been honoring yourself in those places because you still believed that in order to be successful at anything, you have to be this other way. And yet you can't manage to be that other way because you're just not. And that's okay. And I think bringing in some more love and self-acceptance to that part of you is going to help a lot. So let's clarify the judgment. We have the Eight of Cups and the Father of Wands. So also part of this pattern is the loss of a father figure. Perhaps your parents got divorced, or they abandoned you, or they left. And so you keep, and it was sudden with this lightning. It's like maybe your father just kind of, up and was like, I'm going to go get a pack of cigarettes, and then never came home. I'm so sorry. It's not funny, but you know what I'm saying. It was sudden, a sudden loss of that father authority or that father figure. And so you're repeating that pattern over and over again in these experiences where you finally meet somebody with a more masculine energy, and that's just energetic. So it doesn't matter. It could be a masculine woman or a masculine man. This Emperor is really indicating the leader of the group is somebody that you end up gravitating towards, and then suddenly they vanish. It's over. And you're kind of just, you're left feeling a little bit emotionally broken and confused. Bottom of the deck, Nine of Pentacles, and once again on your own and single and not necessarily destitute. The Nine of Pentacles isn't like a sad alone energy. It's just alone. You still are wonderful. You know that you're wonderful, but you just haven't found your people yet, is what I'm getting, is kind of the main theme here. But you haven't been able to figure out how to break free from that. So actually, we're going to do one more row. I really want to get to the nut of this because I think, like I said, it's a lot. It's in a layer deeper than the rest of the groups, for example, because it's so subtle. There's a softness, a quietness about this thing. And let's clarify the moon here. Let's see if we can really get underneath this. We have the Eight of Swords. So yes, like I said, you can't see yourself clearly because you've locked yourself away. You've locked your true self away. And in order to try to fit in, like I said, to the group. Father of Cups here, clarifying this. So perhaps, yes, you experienced that eclipsing of yourself, but then there was this very beautiful, very loving masculine energy that was around you. And that's why if that energy up and left suddenly, that it you kind of just closed up, right? Like a fan. Like when those of us that are really soft and sensitive, if something harsh happens, the best thing we can do is just kind of like close the flower, right? To protect it because it's so delicate. There's a delicateness about your inner nature. Let's see, let's clarify the Nine of Cups. So you are so much more like your father, I think, or this father figure. It's giving kind of like, the black swan. It's like the odd one out. And so when you lost that example, you also lost that permission for you to be yourself. And because of that loss, you aligned with, well, maybe, like you aligned with this idea that this louder, more dramatic, more intense, fiery version of people is always going to win, or it's going to drive you away, or it's going to take away what you love, or it's going to not allow you to have the space to breathe and the space to be who you really are. So you may keep ending up in partnerships that are like that as well, where they don't actually have the space for your softness. They don't allow the space for the more delicate, tender parts of you. And it just makes you kind of shut down, because there really isn't any fighting that when you are more of that softer temperament. There's nothing you can do other than to just, like I said, just close up. 9 of Cups, clarified by the Mother of Pentacles or the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, for some of you, you're the kind of person that gets lost in your art and gets lost in your work, because that's really the only place that right now that you have permission to be who you really are. And so you find your nourishment from that. And because creativity is so nourishing, that's why you still feel great about yourself within your own self when you're alone. But the outer world is not reflecting that softness or that loving acceptance that you have for yourself internally. It's a very quiet thing. Clarifying the Father of Wands, please. What else do we need to know about this? The 4 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups. So in order for you to really get to this emotional fulfillment that you're looking for with the 10 of Cups, there is some healing of having to let go of waiting for that energy you've been wanting, that permission that you've been wanting. You can't wait for it anymore. You are going to have to release the past here, and are likely going to have to grieve that. The Chariot, yeah. If you're able to let go of your idea of that you're going to be, I don't know, sort of saved by these people, right? It's almost like you're looking for that charismatic, intense, fiery person to finally say, it's okay, you can be yourself. You're holding on and waiting for that, but it's unlikely that that will ever come. And so you're gonna have to probably grieve that. And yeah, 6 of Cups here. You're gonna have to grieve that is never coming. They aren't ever going to give you permission. You're going to have to find the permission to allow yourself your softness and that quiet self and your artsy romance vibes to exist. And when you do that, that's when you will start to move forward into that 10 of Cups way of being. So let's go to this. It's still a little hazy. Again, like I said, it could be all that Pisces energy for some of you. But we're going to go ahead and see what the Dark Mirror has to say as far as what the ultimate root of this pattern is for you. Group 3. Colorless Angel. Perchance to dream. Bottom of the deck, Fragmentation. And Queen of My World. Yeah. So, and again, forgetting oneself, hiding your true self. Yes. So this has come out pretty much for every pile. The Calling the Storm. And what that really means is that, so we have this colorless angel, the perchance to dream. Again, you sort of let that person suck the air out of the room and suck the air out of everything, because there's no competing with someone like that when you have that soft, quiet nature. So you just sort of shut down and get small and you just acquiesce to whatever it is that's going on with them. And this is likely a fragmented part. This has also come up, I'm pretty sure, in all of the piles, because that's what we're really talking about. We're talking about the different parts of you. So there was the part of you that didn't feel safe to really be that soft, gentle, sweet child, because you had this very overbearing fire sign kind of energy, like just always bearing down on you. And so you just created this part that just kind of disappears. It just vanishes into the back of everything. And it was out of love. This fire sign, the queen of my world, it's really saying to me that that mother figure, you love them so much, but it just eclipsed who you really are, and it made you feel like it wasn't okay to be who you are. And eventually you start to forget who you really are, which then makes it harder for you to make good decisions in relationships, because again, you have to know who you are in order to make good decisions. And that is actually something I talk a lot about in Goddess School. It's about finding out who you really truly are in your most authentic self, because once you know that and you're super clear, then decisions become easy, because it's just obvious what's for you and what's not for you. And I think you're not quite sure yet what's for you and what's not for you, so you keep ending up in situations that aren't for you and it doesn't work out. And, you know, there is a part of you, that artistic part of you that you are when you're alone, when you're quiet, when you're engulfed in whatever it is that you love to do. You know who you are in those moments, but when you come out into the world, you're still hiding your true self. And the calling the storm advice is really about being willing to have the courage to face whatever consequence or fallout is going to happen if you go ahead and just be who you really are in those circumstances. To not shrink, to not disappear, but be loudly quiet, if that makes sense. Be super present and allowing of yourself to be who you are in those settings with those other people. And if it makes them uncomfortable, it makes them uncomfortable. If it makes all the attention turn to you because they want to know why you're so quiet and other people in the group get upset, or they have to stop talking because you're just there and you're present and you're staring at them, rather than pulling away and kind of pulling into yourself and disappearing with this colorless angel energy, that you just stay fierce and present in your quiet and in your calm, and you stay with whoever it is and let them deal with their discomfort, because you've been managing everyone else's feelings, and you know, you're not getting what you need because you're not really participating. And that's the other thing as well. You think that everything's going on around you and you don't have anything to do with it. And that might be true, but perhaps what's happening is you're not actually contributing what you could be, because you're a little bit lost in yourself and paralyzed, if that makes sense. That maybe that's the lesson for you, that you actually do need to speak up and you actually do need to put your 2 cents in, and you stepping back and kind of just being on the outskirts observing is not what is needed. And what is needed is actually for you to really step in. Yeah, the destroyer. The way that you're going to get through this block to be able to find the connection that you really want is you have to be willing to go against the grain. You have to be willing to destroy the status quo, because you are different. And then we have the threshold and the vision. So once you become willing to disrupt what's going on by being different than what everyone thinks you should be, then you will finally be able to step onto that threshold where you'll be able to actually see the vision. See the vision of the love that you're wanting. And yes, here it is. That's the love that is underneath it all, the flame. You are looking for that same kind of fire that subdued you. You want that fire, but you want that fire to warm you instead of be overbearing and shut you down. But you're going to have to be willing to be the black sheep, to not be like everybody else. And that is going to lead you to the warmth of that fire that you're constantly attracted to, and yet it just keeps consuming you instead of warming you. Does that make sense? If this resonated, if you're feeling like, yes, that's me, and you're just like, how do I move forward from this? Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of really helpful advice to move forward other than what has come up, because again, it's a quiet process. Hit me up for a personal reading. I would love to go deeper into the specifics with this with you, or if you're really ready to just heal those parts. I do offer one-on-one shadow work sessions. We can tap into this energy and help you emerge from that chrysalis as the butterfly, so you can finally be able to meet this flame that you are wanting and looking for, whether that is just simply in community or in like a personal one-on-one love relationship. So drop a comment if this resonated. Let me know how it's landing for you. And that's all I have for you today, Group 3. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next reading. Bye.